Hi, I'm Leah, and this is my story analysis summative. I decided to do the movie Shrek. This is a DreamWorks animation film. First off, I chose this movie because it's one of my favorites. I really like this movie. And I can also use a lot of Pixar's 22 rules of storytelling within this movie. So, to summarize Shrek, he is basically a grumpy, smelly, considered ugly ogre. He owns a swamp and he lives in there. One night, he suddenly finds his land has been squatted by a bunch of fairy tale creatures who were banished by the evil Lord Farquaad. Right away, one of the characters we meet is Donkey, and Donkey joins Shrek on a journey to save a princess from a tower named Fiona. They're doing this because he wants his land back, and he made a deal with Farquaad that the only way he could get his land back is if he saved the princess from her tower. Once he saves the princess realizes that it is not her Prince Charming at first, but throughout the movie they develop and get a closer relationship. We learn that Fiona actually had a curse that at night she would turn into an ogre, but during the day she was still in her human form. She was told that to break the spell she had to kiss her true love. She knew deep down that her true love was not Lord Farquaad, and in the end Shrek bursts into the wedding chapel and saves Fiona, and they kiss and they end up staying both together in ogre form forever. So for the first example, I chose rule number 6, which is what is your character comfortable with and throw the polar opposite at them. We see right away in this movie with Shrek and Donkey being the complete opposites. Shrek is grumpy, cold, mean, and Donkey is very in his face, outgoing, funny, just the exact opposite of what Shrek wants to be around. Having two different characters being the complete opposite is a lot of conflict, but is also a lot of resolve, as in the end they become really, really close. Still annoyed with each other, but we learn that Shrek does enjoy having Donkey around and likes his company, as he's typically alone. So throwing him with somebody being around him 24/7 is very different for Shrek, and it allows the story to have a compelling ending. The second example I chose is rule number 3, which states for us to not really know the theme till the end of the story, and the movie Shrek does a really great job with this. Throughout the movie, we establish new characters such as Donkey and Fiona and Farquaad, and each of them gives us a new twist in the story, such as Fiona, when we thought she was just a typical princess, and we come to learn that she was actually an ogre. She had a curse, and throughout the movie, it just kept having twists and turns, allowing us to not know exactly what the end results were going to be. For example number 3, I chose number 11, which is why tell this story? What's the belief burning within you to write this story? From watching this movie, I can tell that the reason this was written was to give people insight on friendship. This is the theme that we see throughout the movie, and it encourages the audience to realize that friendship is important. We see Donkey often singing songs that are based around friendship throughout the movie, and Shrek realizes that Donkey, as a friend, has a positive impact on his life. It's not only that, but it's also that it is important to accept people for who they are. We see that Shrek is an ogre and that everybody around hates him, throws pitchforks at him, and nobody likes him just because he is an ogre. But we learn that a girl named Fiona accepted him for who he is and ended up loving him, and just because he was different had nothing to do with it. For example number 4, I chose number 12, which is discount the obvious. In Shrek, we were always left in our seats not knowing what was going to happen next. We didn't know if Shrek was going to make it out of the tower alive. We didn't know if Fiona was going to marry Farquaad. Each scenario was never the same, and it always left us wondering what was going to happen next. Just when the adventure ends, it leads to another obstacle, never making the ending super clear, which is really good for this Pixar example. And finally, for my last example, number 21, identify the situation and the characters. When we look at the characters in Shrek, we notice that they all have very different and unique personalities. But overall, their backstories are what make them who they are. For example, Shrek, he always got picked on and was hated by everybody in the kingdom. And Fiona, who was thrown away in a castle and thought to be a perfect pretty princess when she actually was dealing with a curse. In all these situations throughout the movie, we really get to see the full true personalities of each of these characters. And so with that, I conclude the video. Thanks for watching.